2013, a movie about greed, fraud, and Wall Street excess hit theaters worldwide. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio. It was nominated for 5 Oscars. It was called The Wolf of Wall Street. Here's what almost nobody knew. A huge chunk of the money used to make that movie was allegedly stolen. Not from a bank, from an entire country. A young financier siphoned billions out of a government fund meant to build hospitals, schools, and infrastructure for millions, and used it to bankroll superyachts, a private jet, jewelry for supermodels, parties with A-list celebrities, and yes, a movie about financial fraud, paid for with the proceeds of financial fraud. The Prime Minister at the center of it all has been sentenced to prison twice. The man who orchestrated the scheme has been missing for years, and nobody, not the FBI, not Interpol, has been able to find him. This is the story of 1MDB, one of the largest financial heists in world history, and it starts with 2 teenagers at a private school in England. Before we go any further, this channel exists to dig up stories exactly like this one, the massive collapses nobody fully explains. If that's your kind of story, hit subscribe right now so you don't lose this channel. Okay, back to Malaysia. In the late 1990s, a Malaysian teenager named Joe Low was sent to Harrow, one of Britain's most elite boarding schools. There, he became close friends with Riza Aziz, stepson of a rising Malaysian politician named Najib Razak. That friendship would eventually help move billions out of a country. Fast forward to 2009, Najib becomes prime minister. Almost immediately, he sets up One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB. On paper, attract foreign investment, fund infrastructure. In reality, prosecutors would later say it became a personal piggy bank, run with the help of Joe Low, who never held any official position inside the fund. In 2009, 1MDB entered a joint venture with a Saudi oil company. The fund put in $1 billion. Almost immediately, around $700 million was rerouted into a shell company called Goodstar Limited. Its function? Move stolen money where it couldn't be traced. Over the next few years, 1MDB kept raising money through massive bond sales, arranged with Goldman Sachs. Goldman helped raise over $6 billion. The fees were dramatically higher than typical, so unusually large they became central evidence against the bank. Billions flowed through 1MDB. Billions flowed back out, into shell companies, private accounts, and a global spending spree nobody in Malaysia knew was happening. Joe Low became a legend on the party circuit. Hundreds of thousands on champagne in a single night. He partied with Paris Hilton. He gifted a Picasso and a Basquiat worth millions. He chartered superyachts. He bought real estate in Beverly Hills, New York, and London. And in 2012, he helped finance a Martin Scorsese film. Riza Aziz started a Hollywood production company called Red Granite Pictures. In 2013, that company produced The Wolf of Wall Street, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Prosecutors later alleged a significant share of that film's budget can be traced back to money diverted from 1MDB. DiCaprio was never accused of knowingly taking part in the fraud. He cooperated with investigators, and both he and his foundation returned gifts, including a Marlon Brando Oscar statuette and pieces of art tied to 1MDB money. The irony is hard to overstate. A movie warning about financial fraud was allegedly partly paid for with the actual proceeds of financial fraud. By the early 2000s, roughly $4.5 billion had allegedly been misappropriated from 1MDB. Investigators say around $1 billion flowed into Najib's personal bank accounts. For years, almost nobody knew. This is the point in the story where everything's about to blow wide open. And trust me, what happens next involves a fearless journalist, a stolen election, and a decade-long international manhunt that's still going on right now in 2026. If you want to catch every twist of that, make sure you're subscribed to Insolvent. We post a new financial collapse story every week. And drop a comment telling us which company or scandal you want us to dig into next. We genuinely read every single one, and a lot of our episodes come straight from that comment section. Okay, let's talk about how this all came crashing down. In 2015, 1MDB missed a loan payment, a few $100 million. Enough to make journalists ask questions. That July, the Wall Street Journal published a bombshell. nearly 700 million had allegedly flowed into Najib's personal bank accounts. Around the same time, journalist Claire Rucastle Brown began publishing leaked financial documents through the Sarawak Report. Najib denied everything. He claimed the money was a political donation from a Saudi royal family. Malaysia's government moved fast. The Attorney General investigating the case was replaced. Journalists faced pressure. For a while, it looked like Najib might ride it out. But the story had escaped Malaysia's borders. Investigators in the United States, Switzerland, Singapore, and half a dozen other countries started pulling on the thread. The money had moved through the American banking system, through shell companies in tax havens, through art auctions and yacht purchases that left a paper trail an ocean wide. In 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice filed civil lawsuits to seize more than $1 billion in assets, at the time, the largest single action of its kind in department history. Joe Low saw where this was heading. He vanished. In 2018, Najib called a general election, hoping to secure enough power to make the scandal disappear. Malaysian voters did something that hadn't happened in over 60 years. They voted his party out of power entirely. Weeks later, Najib was arrested. In 2020, he was convicted on 7 charges: criminal breach of trust, abuse of power, money laundering, related to roughly $10 million. Sentenced to 12 years. He appealed. He lost. In August 2022, he became the first former prime minister in Malaysian history to walk into a prison cell. That same year, Goldman Sachs agreed to pay roughly $2.9 billion in penalties. Its Malaysian subsidiary pleaded guilty to criminal charges. For one of the most powerful investment banks on Wall Street, it was a staggering admission. Riza Aziz was charged with laundering nearly $250 million. Charges later dropped after he agreed to return assets, triggering public outrage. And Joe Low? He has never been caught. He's believed to be hiding somewhere in China. He has an active Interpol red notice. A Kuwaiti court sentenced him in absentia to 10 years. He has never set foot in a courtroom. In 2024, a Malaysian pardons board cut Najib's 12-year sentence in half, down to 6 years, sparking accusations of political favoritism. Then, in December 2025, Najib was convicted again in a separate trial covering more than 2 billion Malaysian ringgit in 1 MDB-linked charges, sentenced to an additional 15 years. Since then, Najib has been fighting to serve his sentence under house arrest, claiming a secret royal order entitles him to it. Malaysia's courts have rejected that request. He remains in Kajang prison. One of the biggest financial scandals in modern history, and the legal fallout is still actively happening right now while you're watching this. That's 1MDB, a fund built to help an entire country, hollowed out to fund a lifestyle most of us couldn't imagine, and a scandal so big it reached all the way into an Oscar-nominated Hollywood movie. If you want more stories like this, real money, real consequences, real people, hit subscribe so you catch the next one. And I want to know, which collapse should we cover next? Drop it in the comments below. We read every one, and a lot of the stories on this channel started with someone typing a suggestion right there. Thanks for watching Insolvent. See you in the next one.